So winter is here. Winter is essentially here. We're at the beginning of December right now. And for me, winter time is when I actually kick into high gear and I always come out of the winter better. All of the best level ups that I've had in my life in terms of self-improvement, in terms of business, in terms of self-mastery, in terms of sales development, all of the best times for me have come in the winter. And if you're someone who values success and you value the arc of success, you value the arc of getting ahead and pushing for greatness, which many of you watching this channel do, and if you aren't that kind of person, you would not resonate with what I teach, with what I say, with what I share on the channel anyways. So this is kind of for a very specific audience. If you're someone who resonates with the idea of pushing for greatness, pushing for more, I'm going to give you a roadmap here for how you can max out your winter and how you can make your winter. The way I see my winter is I see it as a platform for me to get ahead and a platform for me to move the needle ahead in my journey. So every single winter consecutively, I end up coming out making more money. I end up being more skilled. I end up with better relationships. I end up in a better position than I was going into the winter. And that's what I was saying. I really look forward to winters. Now, something I'll tell you, this training today, what we're going to go into here as I'm sitting here running errands out in Budapest, I just finished grabbing some medicine that my dog needed, actually, because he was eating from the trash. So I thought that I have some time before I get home. I thought it would be nice to talk to you guys and share these ideas with you that have been on my mind for a while. Something that you'll find is average people, meaning in terms of the success and the value they create in the world, okay, people who are in what I call the haze, a lot of times they actually hate the winter. Most of these people hate the winter. They look at the winter as something that they dread, something where, you know, it's like, oh my God, winter time, not fun, terrible weather, winter, oh my God, it's so gray outside. Like I'm looking outside right now at what's around me here, and you can maybe even tell from the windows, it's pretty damn gray outside. It's pretty damn gray. The weather isn't great. It's not exciting to be outside, potentially, depending on how you see things. And I'm going to give you a different approach to that as well. But I've learned to love the winters. And when I see winter coming, like, dude, I'm telling you the truth, when winter starts coming and the weather starts getting shit, when it starts turning gray and it starts getting bad, I genuinely start getting super, super excited. And there's a very specific reason why I get excited. There's a tangible, actual reason why I get excited. It's something that I call the winter arc. And you may have heard this before. It's not something I made up, but I really lean into this winter arc or the winter lock-in. Stick with me here. Get present with what I'm saying. The winter lock-in to me is a time where I can focus on the actions, the inputs that matter the most, so I can level up and come out of the winter period. I kind of incubate. I treat it almost like a hibernation. I come out of this incubating period. I come out of this period where I incubate, and I come out of this period on top, where I'm in a completely different position by the end of the winter time. Super powerful stuff. The reason why I love this period and I love going into the winter is because the consciousness of society, everyone kind of gets miserable and gets depressed and they're like, oh, I just have to work now. So the energy is, I just show up at my job, I'm not really doing vacations, and I'm talking the energy from the masses, from the mass consciousness, okay? Their energy is, all I'm going to do is stay in my 9 to 5. I'm going to be miserable. Lady, get over. This woman wants to get over and she's panicking. What is going on? And I'm going to be miserable and I can't live the life that I want. I can't have fun, right? So the consciousness is doing this, but I know that the life that I want to create is different than the consciousness that most people are resting within, if that makes sense. So most people are in a consciousness of, oh, I can't do much. I can't do more because it's wintertime. I can't be excited. I can't have fun. I can't engage. But me, because I'm on a different wavelength in terms of the life that I want to create and the success that I want to have, where is my consciousness set? My consciousness is I get to actually lock in and build something, because most people, if you think about this, the reality of this is most people are not in a conscious state where they're building something. Most people are in a state where they're reacting to things, right? They show up to work, which is not bad. You have to show up, of course, but they show up waiting to get the promotion. There isn't anything tangible that they're actively building. And again, this, I want to be clear, this is not me hating on people that have 9 to 5s. This is not me saying that you need to go be an entrepreneur, go be in remote sales, which, you know, a lot of you guys, and a lot of what I teach is about remote sales. That's a lot of the conversations we have here. I'm not telling you guys that. I'm not saying go do remote sales, go build a business. I'm not saying that. But a lot of you are doing those kind of things and do have those ambitions. But for a lot of this, the consciousness of society right now, it's I'm coasting meaning I'm in a very reactive state where I'm showing up and I'm here doing my job, and I'm showing up and waiting for the boss or the man, whoever we'd call it, to put me on, to give me an opportunity, to kind of change my life for me, right? I'm waiting for that little promotion. And me being in sales and talking to, at this point, thousands of people on, you know, for different offers, having many sales calls, I've been able to see a nice sample size of the population for the offers that I've been on, selling e-commerce coaching, a biz op, then also selling dating coaching, dating training, consulting for offers for various influencers and people that are quite popular in the space, people who you would even know online, that you follow on YouTube, like my client NeroKnowledge, being able to work with them and see their calls and learn from their calls and then take on those calls myself. One of the things that I've realized is a lot of the population is following the same frequency, where we operate on these cycles of summertime is fun. That's where I get to enjoy my life and have fun. And the winter time is the downtime where it's miserable. Oh man, the winter, the fucking winter. I hate the winter because I can't like enjoy my life, right? Here's the reframe. One of the things that we do in sales, and I teach this to our clients in protocol sales training, which is the name of my sales training program. One of the things that I teach my clients is reframing prospects' mindsets, where let's say someone comes on a call and they have a limiting belief around money, okay? Where they have this belief system like, you know, I can't spend on myself or invest in myself. I have to be very careful with how I invest. You should always be careful, but where I have to be very cautious and fear-based in how I invest in myself. That's the approach that they take. A lot of prospects will take this on your calls as a sales rep, you know, and you have to reframe it, looking at their limiting beliefs around money, looking at their mindsets around money. You have to do this, okay? Now, one of the things that I've seen is, instead of you just reframing prospects all the time as a sales rep, if you're a sales rep, you need to learn this. Instead of just reframing prospects, like, I'm reframing everyone, reframe, just reframing every single prospect. One of the ways that you can get really good at reframing, and this is a principle I teach all of our reps, is reframe yourself. What are the limiting beliefs that you have around your own life, around your own self-development, around your own journey as a sales rep, as a communicator, as a leader, as a business owner? What are some of those limiting beliefs that you have, and how can you take charge and take power over those beliefs to reframe them in your own mind, your own heart, your own soul? How can you do that, right? That's an example of the ultimate reframe. Instead of you saying, I have to reframe the prospects all the time and I can't reframe anyone else, it's just like, you're thinking in terms of like prospect. Can you have these conversations? Can you have these internal dialogues with yourself? And if you can't do that, and if you never have done that, that's really problematic. That's a serious issue. It's a problem if you've never reframed yourself. So now, looking at these cycles that the masses are consuming, that they're going into, a cycle like the summer's good weather versus wintertime. Why is it that I come alive in the wintertime? Because I've reframed myself, I've reframed my internal state, my belief systems, to actually be aligned with the idea, which I fundamentally believe to be true from the bottom of my heart, that the winter is when I get ahead, and that's the time where I come alive. The winter time is when I have my greatest ideas. The winter time is when I tend to make my best investments in myself, which means investing in mentors, investing in coaching and training. I just made a commitment to work with a coach of mine, a mindset coach of mine, for quite a significant amount of time to help me with my productivity, with my content strategy, with my fitness journey, all these things. He's a mental architect, and he works a lot on belief systems, identity. Check him out. His name is Malik Lewis. He runs a channel called Purpose Driven, and I'm working with him now. Reconnected with my old mentor, Owen Cook, as well, who was my very first dating mentor. Reconnected with him and planning on making an investment in training with him in personalized coaching, right? And pulling the trigger on that. I'm sitting and locked in on the gym. I don't feel like going to the gym. Most of the time, I do not feel like going because the weather is kind of shit. So I have to get out and drive and then take a walk there, and all that stuff is just uncomfortable. But I actively do it Why? Because I've reframed myself, my own internal state now, the state that I'm operating from, the frequency that I'm operating from is no longer attached to the weather has to be good for me to enjoy life, because what am I actually controlling for? And here's what I want to, here's the core principle of today's training that we're going to get to. And stick with me here, because I know I'm sharing a lot of concepts, and some of these are going to be very high level, which a lot of you may not even resonate with, but some of these concepts you guys will resonate with in a lot of detail, and if you can apply them to your own lives, you'll really change your life, okay? The question I want you to ask yourself, here we go. The question to ask yourself is, what is it that you're controlling for? What are you controlling for in your own life day to day, okay? And by controlling for, what I mean is, what are the actions or the outcomes, not even actions, but the outcomes that you're controlling for? Outcomes that you're controlling for means, for me, let's contrast people that are stuck in the haze and people that are stuck in the frequency, the frequency of coasting where they lack excellence. Okay, let's compare the frequencies. Let's look at these. So someone who's in that state, resting in that state where, oh my God, I live for the weekends, I'm excited for the summer because that's when the weather's good and I have permission to now enjoy myself and I can go out and enjoy life because previously I couldn't, right? So that's the frequency that we're competing against, quote unquote, here. Let's look at and compare those frequencies. If I'm controlling for a life where I'm building something, which means a life where seeing my productivity rise, that's important. A life where seeing my income rise, that's important. A life where my sales skills and my ability to close people, bring people over the line and master communication, that's important. If that's what I'm controlling for in my life, then what does that mean about how I'm going to operate day to day, week to week? The things that others are controlling for, which I'll share those with you in a second, those things simply won't resonate with me, which means the inputs, or where I put my focus, or where I put my enjoyment in life, where I place my attention, where I place my, maybe the word I would use honestly is my energetic frequency, where I place those things in, where I place that focus in, is not going to be what other people resonate with. It's going to be very, very different. It's going to be a very different frequency, right? Because what I'm controlling for, what I'm optimizing for in my life is long-term success, right? It's long-term freedom, all of those kind of things. So now, then the question would be, here's where it gets really interesting. If you're going to control for certain aspects and certain outcomes in your life, things like financial freedom, things like giving back to the people in your life who matter most. And I'm not talking about just giving a bit of your time. I'm talking about where you actually are able to change their lives, and you're actually able to give them a better version of you because you've impacted their lives financially, right? Those kind of things. If you're controlling for those aspects of your life, or you're controlling for those outcomes, then the question would be is, what do you enjoy and what do you get excited by? Because I don't think that what you're going to get excited by, to be real, what you're going to get excited by is not going to be, oh my goodness, the weather is better. Oh my goodness, a new TV show came out that I really actually like. You're not going to control for those kind of things. Instead, you're going to control for things that are going to lead to those outcomes coming true. AKA, I'm able to retire mom. AKA, I'm able to give back to my sister. AKA, I'm able to buy my dad something really cool and impact and change his life because of, not investments, but because of, investments that I made in myself. Okay? So then the question would be, people that are in the haze, and stick with me guys, if you're still here, amazing. There's a lot we're getting to, but this is some very, very deep shit. People that are in the haze, let's look at them now. What are they controlling for? Like, what's their day-to-day control? What is it? It's stimulus, it's reactivity. Stimulus meaning, how can the outside world influence how I'm able to enjoy myself and how I'm able to interact with the world, right? AKA the weather, AKA the TV show going on, that comes out. I'm excited because this TV show came out and that's the best thing in my life that I'm looking forward to. What's another thing that they can control for? Maybe it would be like going out to the bar with friends. I'm not saying that you should never do that, never go out to the bar ever, because that wouldn't even make sense. Like you can enjoy life. But again, the key here is, what are you controlling for and what are you optimizing for? And I'll give you an example of myself. One of the things that I used to optimize for a lot back when I was in university, and I did 2.5 years in university and then dropped out. But one of the things that I would optimize for all the time was like going to the university parties. That was what excited me. It was, can I go to the university parties? Can I do that? And if I couldn't do that, my week wasn't great. I wasn't having a great week if I couldn't do that, right? Because I needed to go to the university parties. That was the thing that I was optimizing for, right? It was like, what girl would be showing up in my classroom? That was another thing that I was optimizing for. These were all things that weren't aligned with my purpose and with who I wanted to be, which was a really big problem. These were outcomes that I was optimizing for that were aligned with the version of me that I was just would not actually serve my long-term best interest, right? Now that I've changed and that I've, collected multiple millions in sales, now that I'm training amazing sales reps and helping them create a better life for themselves, what is it that I'm optimizing for? Again, giving back to people in my life, being able to retire my dad, being able to impact the world in a greater way, and being able to help sales reps, being able to help the people that come across this channel, the people that are listening to me, people like yourself, being able to help you make a lot of money. And with our sales process and with our sales training, we've been able to do that. Meaning with the processes that I've created through the years that I've been in sales now, through the millions of dollars that I've collected in cash, the millions of dollars that I've managed, not just like 1 or 2 million, we're talking about 10 million plus that I've managed, that I've overseen, collected, reps that I've trained in protocols. Now we see our sales reps beginning to increase and change what they're optimizing for. So now their own optimization is increasing. The range at which they're performing is increasing. But going back to the winter, and I don't want to stay on topic here because I know that there's a lot of dense topics here, but I want you to be very clear what I'm talking about. The winter now is a time where that optimization becomes really strong because I don't see it as, oh, it's winter time to lock in. I actually see it as I'm going against the collective consciousness. That's how I optimize my winters. I'm literally, purely going against the collective consciousness. I'm actively going against what most people who are in the haze choose to do. So my winter arc, I'll give it to you very plainly, very cleanly, and I'm almost at my destination, so we'll have to dip here shortly. But I'm going to give you this very, very cleanly and very simply. My winter arc comes down to 2 primary things. Number 1 is heightened awareness and alignment of what I want to create. So my vision becomes way stronger in the winter, simply because there's less distractions. In the summer, I go to a couple festivals. Me and my girl do some travel. We've got a really sick trip planned to Singapore next summer. We did Tokyo this past year. We did Malta. We traveled over. I was in the US, was in Portugal, went to a couple parties, had some great experiences, right? But if you look at this, in the winter, my focus, my optimizations change from being optimized for stimulus, which I'm willing to accept in the summertime. I will allow stimulus to be part of my life in the summer because there are more things going on. And instead, in the winter, my focus becomes alignment and vision. Okay, and you can do this. Your vision should be stronger than ever in the wintertime. The winter is a great time, and this is why I love winter so much, and I talk about this arc, I talk about this winter incubating season. My focus and my optimization in the winter is stronger than it ever will be. It's extremely strong. Why is it so strong in the winter? It's strong because in the wintertime, because there's less distractions and I'm able to minimize distractions, I'm able to minimize people saying, hey, Tim, want to go here, want to go do this thing, which in the summer I will tend to do. In the winter, I enter a meditative and grounded state. There's a training I just ran in protocols in one of our advanced sessions called Treating the Game as a Meditation. And I took a couple of our sales reps. These are guys that are making anywhere from low end 4 or 5K a month to people that are high end making 15K plus per month. I took our sales reps and we did a training on this where I talked about treating the game actively as a meditation day to day. How do you see the game of sales, the game of success, the game of your career, wherever you're at, whatever you're pushing for? How do you see that game as an active meditation? So I sat down with them and we went into this training where we started looking at the game as a meditation. We started looking at the game as an active practice, like a day-to-day practice, the game of sales, the game of success, treating it like a meditation. And this is a concept that I don't just do when I'm on sales calls or like when I'm training sales. I do this also during the wintertime. what I'll do is I'll enter a long-term meditative state where I'll unplug from music, I'll unplug from external stimulus. And I'm not saying I'll do this crazy like a dopamine detox. I'm not saying I'll do that like full balls to the wall. But I will do it to the extent where I can see a noticeable shift in my approach to life and my approach to everything that I'm doing. And I'll enter a meditative state, and my vision for what I want to create in my life, my vision for my future, my vision for how I want to give back to my family becomes really, really clear, and this becomes really, really powerful. My vision becomes super clear. And then I take this vision and I implement it, I align with it in my day-to-day behaviors during the winter, my day-to-day actions, I align with this vision, and then I execute on it, okay? So number one is alignment. Alignment and awareness about the vision, okay? What is number two? Number two is ritual. Ready for this one? Ritual is amazing. Ritual is essentially the way in which you structure your day-to-day activities, the way in which you structure your day-to-day approach to life, your day-to-day approach to the game that helps you actively access a flow state, okay? When I say ritual, that's what I mean. So I'm consistently building and developing a ritualistic practice around my success in the winters. And this is one of my favorite parts of the game, as it were. Ritual. So in the winter, you won't really find me burning a lot of time. You won't find me burning time because I'm filling that space with actions, with habits, with routines that are going to align, that are already aligned, but are going to bring me closer to the higher purpose, the higher vision, the higher goal, right? So some of these routines, I'll give an example of one of these. One of these routines might look like, and I do this regularly, get up in the morning, and first thing that I do immediately when I get out of bed is take the dog on a hike. Go and go with my dog on a hike somewhere nearby in nature. That's an example of ritual, right? And what I found is during the winter, the ritual is really important because the winter is a darker time. Weather's darker, sun is not out. But during the winter, if you really want to thrive and get ahead of everyone, if you want to get ahead of fucking everyone, dude, treat the winter as a ritual. Treat the winter as a meditative practice. And not just saying, oh, I align with my holy grail, meaning I can see it, I can see who I want to become, like meditating all day. It's not just that. It's an active daily practice of actions that are going to align with your higher purpose and where you want to be. So these actions, what I would recommend you do, you can do this exercise, this activity, write down what the ritual needs to be of someone like you who is thriving in that higher purpose, who has actually given back to their parents, or who has had that ultimate freedom for themselves. What does the ritual look like daily? What is the daily ritual? And how can you implement that ritual as consistently as possible in the winter, in the now, without needing to wait till later, without saying, hey, I can't do it now, it has to be at a later time or a later date. How can you get close to doing that now? What my current ritual looks like in the winter is active journaling. That's number one, active journaling. Active nature, right? Even when it's cold, I'll go out in nature. Active gym. I'm much more aggressive actually with my workouts, with my fitness in the winter when it's miserable to go outside than I am in the summer. Again, because I'm going against the collective consciousness. I'm actively saying, no, Hayes, you're not gonna beat me. I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. I can actively decide if I want to go to the gym more, even when I don't feel like it, even when I'm in a down state because the weather isn't giving me permission to go to the gym. I can choose to be in that space, okay? This is it, guys. This is the training, this is the lesson, how you're gonna get ahead in the winter, how you're gonna make this winter your greatest one yet. And I'm telling you all, I've increased my income so much because of this philosophy and these principles. I've increased my income, I've increased my physique, like the way that I look. I leveled that up every winter, except for the winter that I was in sales. That winter I did not. I failed that winter because I didn't care about that. The only thing I cared about was being good in sales. Like the winter that I trained and learned sales for the first time, which was the winter of 2023, going into 2024, everything was terrible physique-wise. But outside of that, I really grew because I treated the winter as a ritual. And the winters really have become a time for me to get ahead, and I find that every single winter, without fail, I skill stack, I come out better than I was before. The winter is a time where I truly thrive, and I want to give you guys those same tools this same ability to take charge of your winter the way that I have, the way that I've been able to get ahead of others, the way that I've been able to push and come out on top. You'll triple your income. You'll work on your physique. You'll even have better relationships because you'll withdraw, and the people who matter most to you, those people who really matter most and are your real friends, they'll lean in and they'll check in on you, or you'll even lead into them and become closer to them because you're not just looking for stimulus from everywhere and stimulus from all over the place. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully you align with it. Hopefully it gives you insights. As I used to say in my old videos, and I'm going to get back to saying this because there's some changes coming to the channel. As I used to say, and I say again, wake up and get out of the haze. Wake up, take control of your life. The winter is here. As Jon Snow in Game of Thrones would say, winter is here. Back in the day, old Game of Thrones. Take charge of your life. It's time to get ahead. Goodbye. I will see you on the next one.